إن الدول التي فرضت هذا الحصار تلاعبت بحياة آلاف الأشخاص وتسببت في تشتيت شمل العائلات وحرمان أطفال من أوليائهم وضرب النسيج الاجتماعي للمجتمعات الخليجية، إلى جانب تدمير مصادر الدخل للعديد من الموظفين والعمال، وكذلك تحطيم مستقبل الطلبة بطردهم من الجامعات وتعطيل تعليمهم. كما عاقبت دول الحصار مواطنيها بسبب تعبيرهم عن وجهات نظرهم حول الحصار بطريقة سلمية.
This is very important venue to discuss the freedom of expression, and I think it's very timely for the region to discuss and to find ways to avoid undermining freedom of expression in the Arab region, especially in terms of the recent demands to close down Al Jazeera network. We in the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, we stated and we issued the public statements basically refusing such demands and emphasizing on the importance of respecting the freedom of expression in the region and beyond. So this is a very principled stand for the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, and we wish that the outcome of this international conference will be towards more protection for journalists and freedom of expression in the region. Unfortunately, in times of conflict and armed conflict, journalists pay a high price. In many conflicts in the Arab region, we documented hundreds of cases where journalists detained or killed by the conflicting parties, and of course, the purpose basically to hide the true stories or not to show the atrocities of war to the public. And this is also another aspect of threatening the freedom of expression.
There are enormous threats to journalists at the moment from countries who lock them up. Turkey is a particular offender in that department. From an economic model of journalism which is very much under threat, with declining advertising markets and attention being taken away by the internet. These are difficult times to be journalists, but actually there is a lot of brilliant journalism happening around the world at the moment, and I think what we need to do is find ways to protect the journalists doing that and to celebrate the work they're doing and to ensure that it has a broad audience.
I think this conference also gives us a chance to reflect and think about what's happening to us in terms of media freedom. And one of the things that we're seeing very clearly is as we shift to internet, we're getting new restrictions coming in, new efforts to control the media. And it's very important that we work on this before it becomes a new problem. Even though we're not very free on the continent of Africa, and as in many other places, we have gained a lot over the past years, and we don't want to lose that freedom. So it's very important that we now take steps and take measures, and it's beautiful to be able to work together collectively. We don't get many chances to meet collectively as a profession, to look at our problems collectively, and I think this conference is very, very important for that reason. It gives us a chance to think, work together, and maybe possibly in the future we can act together also.
So we're here today, we're at this conference on freedom of expression, facing up to the threat, and I think it's pretty timely because there are regional threats to the freedom of the press as well as global threats to the freedom of the press, as has been pointed out by speakers at this conference. I know that there's the question of the threat of closure by some of the countries in the Gulf against Al Jazeera, which is unspeakable, that it should not happen at all. We should allow freedom of expression to occur in all its forms. I think also we've been pointed out to by speakers though that freedom of expression is an indivisible thing, and one of the speakers, in fact more than one of the speakers, have pointed out that this is a fantastic chance for Qatar, which was the place where Al Jazeera was formed, to become a beacon of freedom of expression in the region and in the world, and to set the tone for Arab and Gulf states. I certainly don't think we're going to reach a state of freedom of expression in our lifetimes, at least anyway. One of the speakers pointed out today that 21 years ago, Al Jazeera was the first Arabic station to allow a live interview, and this set in form a trend in the region. But throughout the use of media, while we can go forward in freedom on one hand, we can go backward on the other hand. And some speakers said that there are threats to freedom by cybersecurity laws, for instance, in some countries. And people or politicians and states can often use laws against threats to things like cybersecurity for their own political aims. So it's very important to keep the debate on this clear, and what is freedom of expression and, of course, responsibility, but what is actually being used against the freedom of expression.
Well, we are in Doha today, and we are attending this conference. And one of the most important things is facing up to the threat of the theme of the conference. Yes, we have to face the threat. It's not we have to run away. We need to face it. And for us, yes, we are coming together in different places. Yes, of course, Qatar and Somalia are two different countries in terms of the situation of freedom of expression and safety of journalists and press freedom. But when it comes to us, we need to share information. We need to exchange with our colleagues all around the world who are gathered here, and we need to find how to tackle the common problem we face. Threat is a threat. No matter it's small or big, wherever it exists, a threat is a threat. We have to face it. So for us is to find out strategies on how do we tackle this threat, if it is in Somalia or if it is in Mexico or it is in Colombia or if it is in United Kingdom. Threat is a threat, and the right to freedom of expression belongs to all of us.